Us is written and directed and produced by Jordan Peele, and this film follows a family who travel together to their lakeside summer home where they encounter a malicious doppelganger form of themselves. I don't really want to get into much more of the plot regarding this film because I think the marketing very smartly has hidden a lot of information from the audience, and I don't really want to spoil anything further. Although I did attend the South by Southwest Film Festival, I did not have the opportunity to see this movie at its world premiere. I really wanted to, but then again, so did the rest of Texas. But I was really looking forward to this film because, like most people, I was completely blown away by Get Out. In fact, it was my favorite film of 2017. And not only did I find that film to be one of the most impressive directorial debuts that I've ever seen, I found it to be probably one of the best horror films that I've seen in the past 25 to 30 years or so. So suffice it to say, anything that Jordan Peele puts his name behind, I'm going to be there opening night, pretty much no questions asked. Like Get Out, this is a film that has a lot of social and political subtext within it, and just like in 2017, we find ourselves in a pretty interesting time in our country. But thankfully, someone with as a commanding of a voice as Jordan Peele has been gracious enough to share their perception and their view of the world using horror and comedy as a lens to do so. With this film, I think the social implications of what this movie is trying to say is fairly obvious if you're paying attention. However, there are a few moments within this film that I feel reveal this movie's intentions and what this film is trying to say a bit too much, unfortunately. In fact, there is one line in particular that I think does exactly that, and I'm not even sure that it works within the confines of the story and the narrative that this movie is trying to tell. Sure, I understand why this character is saying it to the audience, so we can kind of cue in on what the social subtext of this film is, but I'm not sure why they said it in this situation. And unfortunately, I do feel that there is quite a bit of that within this film, actually. There are a lot of things that happen in this film that I know what the film is trying to say. However, again, in the confines of this movie, I'm not sure that it is completely airtight. In fact, leaving this film, I had quite a few questions. Now, I do want to clarify that because I feel that it is important. When I left this film, I felt like I had a pretty strong grasp of the political and the social subtext of this film and the message of this movie. However, there are some narrative elements in this film that I just wasn't quite sure of. Now, with that being said, I have only seen the film the one time, so is that something that I'm going to slight against this movie for? Maybe not yet, because I know the type of filmmaker that Jordan Peele is, and I know the type of work that he can produce. So I do want to give this film the benefit of the doubt and rewatch this movie, knowing what I know, and see if I can pick on some of these narrative elements a bit more. I do feel that there are a few missed opportunities within this film that would perhaps entice me to go out and rewatch this movie a bit sooner, because unfortunately there are some moments of exposition that essentially just remove any sort of mystery or ambiguity, which I found to be probably my biggest issue with this film, and it was an issue that I had with Get Out as well. There is a fairly extended scene in Get Out where there is a character who literally sits down another character and explains pretty much what has happened prior to this scene in the movie. It was my biggest problem with that film by far, and unfortunately this movie does the exact same thing, and I hope that this isn't a bad habit that Jordan Peele is developing right before our very eyes. He is way too talented of a filmmaker to be spoon-feeding his audience. In fact, I think a bit of ambiguity could benefit this movie greatly. Because if anything, these explanations that we are given actually make me have more questions than I did before. And they are questions that I don't think will be fixed by repeat viewings and deeper analysis of the film. They feel more like these narrative inconsistencies. However, there are some things that are pretty definitive with Us. For one, I thought the performances of this film were excellent, and I guarantee every video you watch regarding this movie is going to mention her, but I'm not really going to waver from that. But Lupita Nyong'o is absolutely fantastic in this film. Now, she's not the only performer in this film that gives a dual performance, but her role in particular asks something a bit more specific, and I thought she completely delivered, and she totally blew me away. Without a doubt, the best work that I've seen from her. In addition to that, I absolutely adored the score to this film. There's one scene where the score is a bit more prominent, and I smiled from ear to ear because I loved it so much. I am 100% going to buy it on vinyl. There is not one doubt in my mind. As I mentioned before, this film has a lot of comic relief in it, which isn't too surprising considering Jordan Peele's more comedic background. And thankfully, I don't feel that it overpowers the film's more horrific moments, but I will say that I don't think that there is really too many opportunities for it to do that. This film actually doesn't have too many moments that I think a lot of audience members will find to be particularly horrifying. In fact, I personally find Get Out to be much scarier than this film, despite the fact that this is much more of a conventional horror movie. But much like Get Out, I think what I enjoyed most about this film are the social implications that it has. This film asks incredibly important questions that I think are relevant and are well worth asking. And this film certainly does have a lot of big ideas, and although I don't think that this film necessarily lands on all of them, I appreciate that this film actually tries. And although this movie wasn't an absolute home run for me, I am sure as hell glad that there is a filmmaker out there who is willing to do something a bit left of center and is willing to offer something into the horror genre that I've honestly never seen before. If you are interested in this film, or you absolutely loved Get Out like I did, I cannot implore you enough to go seek out this film and make up your own mind. I absolutely am going to go see this movie another time before it leaves the theater so I can further develop my thoughts on this film, but this is just kind of where I stand right now after seeing the movie about 3 or 4 hours ago. So did you guys see Us? What did you think about it? Leave your thoughts and opinions down below. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you liked today's video, and if you did, you can click on the link down below and subscribe to my channel to see more movie reviews and movie related things. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.